Brad and Jennifer Moranz is back this week with their annual summertime show called American Jukebox 2, with hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I talk one-on-one with Brad about what's new this year for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Brad Moranz, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be here in your backyard.
Yes, right. So I love this new house, and thank God for it. But I know obviously you and your wife have a great, entertainment company, Moranz Entertainment, which produces several variety shows over the past couple of months here and beyond.
Well, we used to do like 5 a year, then we cut down to 3, and as we've gotten older, we do fewer. But and we really try to concentrate on each one and spend it takes us 6 months to put one together. So right now we have this one coming up here in July, actually in a week. What am I saying?
Yes,
in 5 days.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And then the Christmas show.
That's right. And speaking of which, I know that Moranz Entertainment is bringing the biggest hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s to the Charleston Music Hall for your annual summertime show, American Jukebox. It features some of the country's most talented singers, dancers, and musicians. No music genre is off limits in this high-energy show. And as you mentioned, show times are 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday, July 9th. So what's new, what's now with the American Jukebox?
Okay, now first off, Saturday is 2 and 7, and Sunday is at 3 o'clock. That's the 3 o'clock show. Okay. So we have 3 performances. What's new? We did a show like this last year that people liked so much. So this year is called American Jukebox 2, more of the greatest hits of those 3 decades. What's new is 30 new songs. That's basically it. That's why it's not the same as last year, even though the title is, of course, similar. It's just that those decades have so much incredible music. I mean, literally, you could do this for years and never repeat a thing. There's so much good music out of it. So, in terms of what's new, everything.
Wow. And so, how many songs did you all initially have prior to reaching 30 songs?
Well, when we begin the process of putting a show together, we probably start with 100. Just a page full of incredible music.
Yes.
And then the process really is you take the performers that you have, and then you try to adapt or try to find the perfect music for those performers. Because even though there's incredible music, perhaps we don't have the greatest singer for that. Well, we've got one singer who sings like a combination of Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin.
Huh.
I mean, she is phenomenal. We've got others that can do a more country slant.
Yes.
So if we want to do a little Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette, or something like that, you can do that. We've got a fellow who has a country slant, but who could also swing and do. Oh, he's a ventriloquist too, so he's doing a Johnny Cash song.
Right.
Or I should say the puppet's doing a Johnny Cash song. He's just sitting there doing nothing. But no, we just got great singers and dancers and musicians. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow. And as you know, I taped this interview in Nashville last year when we did this interview for Quintin's.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, I love country music and those singers that you just mentioned. So let me ask you, how many singers do you have performers do you have all together?
We have 7 singers. We have 6 dancers. We have 9 musicians. And everyone in their own right is just phenomenal. The violinist is actually coming in from Las Vegas.
Wow.
He's going to be playing Charlie Daniels' Devil Went Down to Georgia. He's also going to be playing Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal, on the violin, which is scary. It's just so cool. Wow. It's so heavy. So, but everybody, Demetrius Doctor is our MD, and he and Abdil Iriarty and Manny Houston, who's also in the show, are going to be playing a piano trio, a boogie woogie piano trio that literally brings the house down. It's crazy.
Wow, it is crazy. And I know you're in the middle of rehearsals right now. So which one of these performances or performers have surprised you the most thus far?
Wow. To be honest, I have to say that we rarely hire a performer that surprises us because I'm very careful about who we hire so that I understand who they are, what their capabilities are, so that Jenny and I can actually choose the best thing for them. The only thing that has ever surprised us in the past is when we misjudged, we thought they should do something they shouldn't, in which case we change it. Because we don't allow something to be in the show that's not phenomenal. So if we make a mistake like that, that's great. But nobody surprises us in a good way because we know they're good, and that's good, you know.
Yes, sir. So what is something you all did last year that you're not going to do this year?
Oh God, I'd have to remember last year's show, and that's hard for me because my brain is sort of forward-looking. I don't look backwards very much. I can't remember. I'd have to go on a computer and really look at the show and go, what did we do last year? I can't remember.
And I know that
a couple of Linda Ronstadt. We did some Linda Ronstadt songs we're not doing. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And obviously, you all going to have some hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So, Brad, what era is truly the American Jukebox?
You mean between the 60s, 70s, 80s? If one of them is more?
Yes.
I have learned over time, Quintin, that one person's idea of the best or most popular music has to do with how old they are, what era they grew up in.
Yes.
Because whatever our formative years are, that's the music we're going to really relate to. So, you know, my music might be the 60s because of my age. But I have other people who go 10 years younger than me that go, oh, I love the 70s. 20 years younger, I love the 80s. It really depends. So that's in terms of people's favorite. So my opinion, I think in my opinion, my favorite's probably the 60s. But, you know, again, that's just my era. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, but the 60s contained all of Motown, even though Motown went after that, but 60s was primary Motown, and that genre is just insane. The entire British invasion is the 60s. Certainly the end, some of the heyday of rock and roll, still the 60s. Some of the greatest folk music, still the 60s. Some of the classic country music that ever came out, still the 60s. So if I was arguing for one decade, I'd probably argue about the 60s, yeah.
Wow. And what song today still surprises you as a performer?
You mean as being so good?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I still think Ain't No Mountain High Enough is one of the greatest songs of all time.
Wow.
I feel that way because from a musical standpoint, it still inspires you. It still lifts you. From a lyric standpoint, it still says something that wouldn't you like your loved one to say those words to you? I mean, it says it perfectly in every way. So yeah, that's probably one that still great.
And when it comes to the American Jukebox too, Brad, what still inspires you about this?
You mean about this particular show?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think it's the combination of all of those songs at one time. Of all the songs from some of the greatest from each decade, because there were great songs in the 70s and there were great songs in the 80s too. There's no clear-cut lines, between decades as terms of stuff. Everything blends over, and every songwriter standing on the shoulders of the songwriters that came before them, and simply trying to elevate them and to learn from them and to improve them and to offer something else. So this show is a reflection of all of those songwriters' efforts, and then a reflection of all the performers through those decades that took those songs and brought them to life. And that's what we try to do. Not just sing them, but to really bring them to some sort of, incredible life.
And what else do you want to bring to life from a musical standpoint when it comes to the American Jukebox 2 next year that you haven't done so far?
Well, I tell you what, that would be getting ahead of myself.
Oh.
So that's another thing I don't do very much.
Oh.
I am completely focused on right now and doing this show to the best of my ability. And that's all I can think about, besides the Christmas show coming up. So that's enough. That's enough. But yeah, I'll think about this one in about 6 months.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so let's fast forward to July 9th. How can we purchase tickets right now?
Oh, what a great question. There's several ways. The show is at the Charleston Music Hall. So you can simply go to the Charleston Music Hall box office. You can call their box office. You can go online to either Ticketmaster or online to the Charleston Music Hall's website. Yeah. You can go online to our website, which is bradandjennifermoranz.com. So all of those ways.
Oh, that's easy. Easy.
Or you can buy them at the door, of course, when you can just show up. Because there will be tickets.
Tickets. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And how many tickets have you sold thus far?
About 1,400, something like that. So, yeah, there's with music like this,
yes, sir.
There's a lot of folks who want to see it. Now, there's plenty of seats left. I mean, because there's almost 3,000 seats available when you're doing three performances.
Yeah.
So there's lots of seats, and certainly you can go. And the music hall, one thing nice about it for the folks who haven't been there, is that it's an incredible venue where it sounds good, it feels good, it's very comfortable, and there are no bad seats. There are literally no bad seats in the Charleston Music Hall. So yeah, hope everyone can come.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'll push this interview out so that we can get more people down there. But for now, Brad Moranz with Moranz Entertainment and the American Jukebox 2, thank you for your time here on Quintin's Close-Ups again.
Thanks, Quintin. Good to see you.
Likewise.